Alright, so you're a new player of Guild Wars 2. You're all ready to go, so you don't know what to do. The first thing you're going to do is come down and you'll see world selection. You got to pick the world you want to play in. My advice is if you got friends, make sure you pick the same world they're in. If not, try to get into the very high one. Mostly this has got to do with World v World, so you're not going to be too worried about that right off the bat. But there's 24 home worlds in North America and 27 in Europe, and I'm not sure how many's in China. But you can always play as a guest in those worlds too. So, like if you wanna, you got a friend that's in Darkhaven and you're down here in the Gate of Madness, you can always guest over there and play with them. But basically, this is for World v World stuff. All right. So now the next thing you want to look at right here is your game menu. So that's return the game. If I'm going to go back, your options, that tells you all your settings. I won't go on those just yet. Uh, and then you got edit account, which you can do that. Support, that's if you got a problem, you're going to send a ticket to support. That's if you're going to log out of this character and go to another character. And this is, of course, exit the desktop. All this stuff over here will probably be zeros for you. I wouldn't be too worried about that. Right off the bat, you'll get that. That takes care of itself. This is just your account, your username, and they'll ask you all that when you're signing up. So the big important thing is most players always ask what should they play. On the races, it doesn't matter. You've got human, you've got Norn, you've got Asura, and Char, and you also have Savari. So it doesn't really matter what race you choose, just whatever your preference is. You can have male or female of each race, so you can choose to be a male. I've got a female of Savari. These are the ones that are um, plant based. Then you got Char, you got male Char, you can get female Chars. They're kind of like cats with horns. And then the Norns, they're kind of like the giants, but it doesn't really matter which one you choose. And then as far as classes go, professions, that's the big thing everybody wants to know. What should they play? Basically what they mean by that is what's going to be the make the easiest for me to get the content done. So one thing is the Guardians, but let me go back. If I was going to recommend a class for you to play, I would play Necromancer. They have minions, pretty powerful. You can pretty well go through most stuff in the game with Necromancers. Let me get over here to my. I had created a Necromancer not too long ago. Where is he? Not seeing him now. Here he is. Uh, so your Necromancer, here's the big important thing you want to keep in mind with Necromancer. You have access to these various minions. That helps you a lot. Pretty much just about anything for necromancers usable. They have access to axes and staves and great swords, scepters. So, and you pretty much want to make sure you have berserker gear, which is power, precision, and ferocity on them. The runes, it just depends on what you really want to try to accomplish on this particular one. I'd set him up to where he's like a chill mancer. You won't have a whole lot of, won't be able to get ascended gear right off the bat, but basically you want to look for those three that in the green there, the three stats: power, precision, ferocity. Usually when you're starting out, you'll probably only have one or two, so I would recommend trying to get like power, any gear that's got power, or any gear that's got power and precision on it in the very beginning. So then the next one is that I would recommend if you don't want to be a necromancer, then I would recommend being a ranger. And just because my ranger's an Asura, you can any race can be any of the professions. So the good thing about rangers is you have access to these pets. You run around the world and you'll see juvenile pets or juvenile creatures, and you can run up to them and they'll say charm. You charm them, then they become part of your menagerie. Um, so you can collect all these different pets. You can usually only have like you can even name your pets. You can only have like two pets active at a time. Uh, and then rangers have access to bows and axes, swords, great swords, daggers. I think daggers. Yeah, they. Yeah. Let's see. On this one, I'm using power precision, which is called Marauder's gear. But there again, if you're brand new to the game, you're not going to have all this. You're not going to have these. Now you could have access to this over here, but once you slowly build up your masteries in different things. Let's see. Where is it? Maybe here. Different builds. So right now this is a druid. You have access to various different types of builds. You can be soul beast. That's like a condition. Ranger, marksman, skirmishing, wilderness. Mostly these right here up to uh, you won't have access to the new specializations in the very beginning, but you will have access to all these. Doesn't really much matter what you put those in. Just make sure you mouse over the different things and read what they are. I'd recommend in the very beginning resist the urge if you get any kind of boost or anything like that to boost all the way up to 80. I would try to play my way through because anything you do in the game you're going to get experience from. So basically you want to run around and do maps, so make sure you get all the waypoints. You get the vistas. That gives you, let's see if I can get over here and get to this vista. That gives you points. There's also, I would recommend getting food when you get a chance, when you get enough copper or gold. You're not going to have a lot of bag space. You're not going to have access to these mounts like I do. Of course, you unless you buy the Path of Fire and Heart of Thorns, you can get access to them. But in the very beginning, you'll be just mainly on the core maps, which I'll show you in just a minute. I'm trying to get this vista up here so you can see. Vistas give you quite a bit of experience points. This is an awkward one to get to. There we go. This is in one of the Path of Fire maps. So you see I got experience down here. That's what this tells me. When I get all the way through and fill my bar, in the beginning, you'll be able to get other things. Uh, but for me, since I've already maxed out just about all my characters. I get these spirit shards. The game pretty well takes care of itself as you play it. Alright, so you got Necromancer, Ranger. The next one I would recommend would be Guardian. These are almost like warriors, but they kind of got more of a healing ability or ability to buff and give support to. Um, Now, this particular build I got right now is called a Firebrand, but you won't have access to that. You'll just have access to the core Guardian stuff in the very beginning. Zeal, Radiance down here, you'll have one of these. Valor, Honor, Virtues, you just have these. Later on, as you level up and you go into the other maps like Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire, you'll get these specializations. Alright, so that's your Guardian. And then the last one that I would recommend playing would be Warrior. Warrior gives you access to all kinds of most of just about all the different weapons in the game. You got bows, you got swords, you got axes, shields. You, later on, you have daggers, torches.
13's a solid number.
You can have just about even rifles. You got rifles, maces, hammers. So the warrior has access to just about every weapon there is in the game. And once again, like I said, it doesn't matter which race you choose. All the races can be warriors, guardians, necromancers. Just depends on what you like when you're developing your character. So some of the other classes they got, just to give you an example, you've got Mesmers, which is kind of a little bit complicated to play in the very beginning, but it seems like there's a lot of people that play those Mesmers. They're attracted to the Mesmers because you got a lot of magic and spells and clones, illusions. Um, this is another specialization class here called a Mirage. They have access to different types of weapons. Each time you get a new specialization, you get access to a different type of weapon. The other class that I'm not really recommending because they're a little bit difficult to play in the very beginning and they're squishy is the Elementalist. Elementalist uses a lot of different types of elements in their gameplay like fire, water, ice, elect, uh, lightning. You got earth, attunement, lightning, or air. They call that the air attunement. You got water, water attunement, and then fire. They have access to uh, staves and scepters and focuses and swords and trying to remember what the other one they got access to. Tempest, torches maybe. But this one here is a specialization class called a Weaver, and they have access to the sword. Give you an example of what their builds look like. So you got fire, earth. You won't have this specialization in the very beginning, but once again, you'll have access to all the different core fire, air, earth, water. and then there's like arcane. What you can do is once again, I just recommend if you're worried about builds, there's a lot of different YouTube videos out there for builds. There's also a site called Meta Battle that you can use that'll give you an open world build. Because primarily in the very beginning, you're going to be more interested in open world than anything else. And then the last class, which a lot of people seem to be attracted to in the very beginning, also is Thief, which I think Thief is one, if you can play it and you've got really fast reflexes and all, then it's a pretty good class. They have uh, access to pistols and rifles and daggers and short bows. They can move around. They use a lot of stuff like stealth to get around. They can get invisible, go invisible. So I think that's the reason why a lot of people like them is because they can go invisible and you can get to a lot of areas where bypass enemies and stuff. So I think the last time I looked at stats, most players are playing humans. That's the most played race. Most played profession I think is either necromancer or either guardian. So you got 9 different professions. Each profession has 2 specializations at this time. My recommendation is don't do like I do and or did and get 21 different characters. I'd only do like 9, one character for each of the different professions, and then that way that saves you a lot of time and money. Let's go back. So in the beginning, you're gonna have to create your character. You'll have a little tutorial that you'll go through uh, initially, but initially you'll be like in what they call core tier, which are mostly all these maps like this here. Let me zoom out as far as I can go. All this right in here, 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 skip that around this way. All this is your maps. Each one of these are different maps, and depending on what race you choose, you're going to have a home starting area. But basically what you want to look at is right here, the numbers will say like levels 1 through 15. This one here is level 1 through 15. So always pay attention to what level you are on your character, because you don't want to be like a level 2 and go into a level like area like where you got 15 to 25. He won't last very long. But that gives you plenty of maps to explore and do stuff with. You can level up pretty much just by staying in these maps and doing the different events, getting your waypoints, doing the hearts, getting your vistas, getting your points of interest, fighting different mobs and stuff. You get experience points for whatever you do. My advice too, another thing you want to do when you get a chance and you get some coin, I would get you some farming tools. Now these are permanent tools, but you can buy. There's vendors throughout the game where you can just buy farming tools. Then that helps you get materials. In the very beginning, you're not going to have much bag space. I think this is all the original bag space I had on this new character. I don't believe I purchased anyone. You can buy more bag space if you want to. But let's go up here and look. All right, so we've looked at this is your game menu. This is like contacts. These will be a list of all your friends. If you're looking for a group and you want to do something, just come to this one tab here. Scroll down, whatever. Let's say you want to do fight some of the world bosses. See, right now there's some world bosses going on. You can join these groups. If you have the expansions or you get the expansions, you can go there. Story journal. If you're having trouble like with your story and you need help, you can advertise in there. Say, I need help completing some aspect of my story. That'll be like what you'll get when you after you've created your character. During your character creation, you'll have different questions you ask about your story. You won't have access to Scarlet's War, but after you finish complete your story, you'll have access to these other living world seasons. If you sometimes though these cost gems, you have to buy the gems to be able to actually play them, or buy them with gems to actually play them. Let's go here a minute. All right, so we've looked at the looking for groups. These are just people that will follow you throughout the game. Um, your next tab up here is the tab where you like shows your equipment. This is your builds. This is when you're training for your when you go and you do these hero points, you'll get a point, and then you can put them in different areas to create your build. Because in the very beginning you won't have all these open. You might have one or two of these things open, and then you decide what you want to put by placing points in these different things here, your different specialization areas. And as you fill these bars up, then they unlocks those on your build. Story journal, again, that's keeping track of the different stories you're going to be playing. Your crafting. Let's see if I can find a craft station. Let's do this. I'm just kind of rushing through this. I don't want a very long video. Alright, so you got craft stations. So let's say you want to be a jeweler. You come over to a craft station, you come over here to this master jeweler, talk to them, you say, please teach me to be a jeweler. And then so they'll make you a jeweler. If you got any questions about it, they explain how it works. Then you can come over here, you open it up, you start making these different trinkets and stuff. It's pretty easy. See, I just got a whole bunch of experience points right there. That's another way you can level up your character too. Let's see while we're at it. Let's see. Here's your collection. This will be while you're out in the world and you farm these different nodes. A lot of your stuff goes in your collection. So that's how you find it. You got wardrobe. This will tell you all the different fashions you've unlocked. They got it separated by the weights: light, medium, heavy armors, weapons, skins, outfits, miniatures, gathering tools. So all that's broke down. This is like discovery if you're wanting to just you don't know a recipe and you can't find it, sometimes you can just put stuff in there, and once you fill this up, you'll get it like a little blue box there, and you can craft it. These are like known recipes. You won't have as many as I've got because you'll be new and you're just learning, but that's what that's for. All right, get back in the main map and let's see. That was we were under the crafting achievements. This is all the different things you can ways you can get achievement points. Each day you'll have dailies you can do. Just mouse over them. It tells you what you need to do. PvP and World v World probably won't be doing a lot of that. You'll be doing more of the simple things. But this gives you a whole list of different areas and different places you can gain achievements as you play the game. Basically, in the very beginning, just running around maps and doing stuff, you'll get achievement points. All right, let's see, and then we got your masteries. Of course, I went over that. That's you'll see these places on maps. I don't have a lot of this stuff. Like these things here, they won't be changed colors. They'll be more white. But this mastery point, you can go there and interact with that mastery point, and then you'll get that point, and then you'll come back over here, and you can put them in different aspects. Like once you get your mounts or gliding or different things, like in Central Interior, you'll be working on these. And this tells you how much they cost. Legendary crafting, fractal attunement. Then once you get if you get the expansions like Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, then you these points here, when you interact with them, you'll get 10 of these at one time. So some of you may have gotten the bundle where you got the new bundle and maybe the Heart of Thorns for free or the Path of Fire for free. So these are just various different crafting stations and different craft professions you can develop. I think you can have as many as 3 at one time activated. My advice is I would pick just one character and let them be your main crafter, because you whatever you craft, you can always distribute it to your other characters. And then of course you got your inventory. So up here I've got shared inventory. That's a special thing that you have to buy. This right here. And then you'll have crafting bags. In the very beginning, you'll have like 1 or 2 blues or green bags. As you play the game, you can level those up. You can get increase the. You can even make bags. Like say for instance, if you make your uh, oops, gotta get to. Here we go. Oh, they didn't make me a crafter. I don't want to purchase an additional. But leather, tailor, and the armor smith, they can all make bags. Then down here you got your wallet. This stores other various stuff you collect throughout while you're playing the game. You don't have to really worry about that. Most all this stuff is done for you automatically. So as you collect it, it'll automatically be stored into your wallet. There's some items that you get that won't be automatically stored. Like if you look up here at the top, you've got this deposit on material. So anything that can be stored, once I click on that, will be stored. But as you see, there's a lot of stuff that didn't get stored. So let's see if I go down here to here's where you can, if you look for this symbol here, talk to this guy. These where you buy all your different farming tools. Usually, I always recommend getting these, but if you can't afford those in the very beginning and you're in the lower level maps, you can get these lower level tools. Just be sure that the map that you're farming in uses this level of tool, because you don't want to be in an iron like a mithril map and be trying to use a copper map, because it'll just ruin your materials.
Thank you.
So let's see. Also, these guys right here, you can sell junk automatically. And then if there's some item here you wanted to sell, all you gotta do is just click on it and it'll tell you the price. That's besides trying to go to the Black Line Trading Company. Alright, so your next tab is just your mail. So anytime you get it mail or send mail, you can look in here. You can also send mail to various characters. If I wanted to send mail to that person, I could by clicking on them and then write them a message. That's pretty straightforward. This is your guilds that you belong to. Uh, if you're new and you don't have a guild, best thing to do, keep your eye on the little chat box over here. A lot of times there's guilds that are advertising for new members, or you can just write in there in the map. You can go to the map and say, I'm a new player and I need a guild, and there's somebody will whisper you or send you an invitation to join their guild. I would recommend joining a guild. Try to look for those that say they're, guilds for new players. They help new players. Uh, Try to get in the guild pretty much as soon as you can. You can start your own guild, but I really wouldn't do that in the very beginning. I wouldn't recommend doing that. I would wait and just get in a guild with some other people. Uh, and then your guild menus over here tells you all the different members of the guild. There's guild missions you can go and do. You can be split up into teams. You can this stores different stuff that you can have access to. This is like a history of the guild, and these are different ranks. So that's basically, let's see what it's like. We'll go to a guild hall. Right now you've got Path of Fire guild halls and you got Heart of Thorn guild halls. Path of Fire only has one guild hall, and Heart of Thorns has two. But once you get in the guild, you have access to a whole different other kind of vendors. I'm not going to take up time doing that. That might be for another video. So that's your guilds. Then of course you got your World v World tab, which you can go in World v World, but I really wouldn't recommend doing that right away. I'd try to level up my character more until I got used to how my uh, what my character is able to do as far as weapons and different skills and utilities. Get used to doing that. And then you got PvP. Now PvP, you can go in PvP in the very beginning if you want to. Basically, this is just player versus player, and it has a whole different other way of you. By going in PvP, you'd have access to all of the different, unless they've changed it, you'd have access to all the different kinds of builds, all the different kinds of armors, weapons, different runes. see, like right here, my build is different. In PvP, you just use amulets and runes. So I wouldn't need to click on a rune. Usually just put a berserker rune in there. And then you got weapons. But you kind of balanced already. So that's another place that you can get experience from and different types of rewards. Then you got your Lions Arch, your Black Lion Trading Company. This is where you buy stuff and you can sell stuff too. Mostly all this stuff here, there's no pay to win in this game. This is all pretty much either just cosmetic or quality of life stuff. There's not really any kind of, you're not going to get any kind of super advantage over another player with this, other than if you get like, buy different types of armors. Now, this is just skins. And you can buy gems with real money. This tells you how many gems you'll get for the cost. You can also buy gems by just using your gold. You can come here, like say if I wanted to buy 400 gems, it would cost me 127 gold, in-game gold. Or you can come down here and do a custom exchange, like if I only wanted to buy 10. This is how much it cost me to buy those. For some reason, the trading company's slow today. And then trading post, once you buy stuff, if you buy anything or sell anything, it'll show up here in your box like what you brought. And then your funds is just like if you sell something, it'll deposit your funds there, and you just go to a trading post vendor. You can look on the map and see where they're at. They're over here. So this way. I don't really do a whole lot of PvP these days. I've been doing more World v World. But this will give you access to your bank.
Ho, traveler.
In the very beginning, you won't have too many of these slots. I think you either got maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4, but I don't think you got that many. But this is all the stuff that doesn't go into
Good
your
hunting.
collection automatically, you can put in your bank. And then over here, you can go to the Black Lion Trader and pick up any kind of stuff you may have had purchased or sold. If you sell it, you have your gold, and if you purchase it, it'll whatever item is that you brought and sold. You can also tell you a history. Like all these are items I sold. Here's an item I purchased, and then it tells me how much and how long ago it was that I purchased it. All right, so basically that's it. That's about all you need to know, really, to begin with. It's pretty straightforward and simple. Of course, you can dive into the game as deep as you want to. I mean, there's all different kinds of uh, ways to play the game. When you get ready to leave, all you got to do is just hit exit. And that's a quick guide to playing Guild Wars 2 for new players. That's the simple guide.